Wow.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear
Mikey.
I did pretty well. Oh my God. I just want 25 bucks. Did you get paid this time? Lose again, Rob? Greg lost a lot of money tonight.
Did you collect today?
I was going to collect right now. I think that's great to just donate to the group.
Kim, we almost blew it.
Hey, unbelievable. Thank you.
Okay, I guess that's it.
Thanks for coming. Good to see you. Nice to see you.
Kim, I want you to know that we were crossed over from 16 to 17. And I looked off to the right, and I got Chris with me, and I go, it was Adam and Kathleen coming down, you know, in the green ball. And so all of a sudden we start grabbing, you know, we started getting Michael's attention, and he was oblivious.
Did you see me with
This is my new friend Adam right here.
It's weird because there's, you know, 5 minutes. You know, the baseball analogies can start right on. I leave all the Little League stuff to you professionals. I am the leadoff guy.
You are the leadoff. You are the leadoff.
Junior last year.
Pay me. I will. All right. You want it now? You want it now? Before you leave here tonight. All right, that's fine. Tell me how much you did. You know how much you did. I don't know.
I still have to.
What's he doing?
25, 20, 15.
What's that?
Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, the hostess with the mostest of friends who's brought us here tonight, Ms. Kim Fowler.
Coach.
So, happy birthday. So you stand up, it's all over again. You gotta go through the whole deal. All right, first things first, a little order of business. The bar is open as I have pulled together some dear, close friends and family for you to enjoy the evening with. And I was really racking my brain. I was really trying to figure out what we could do to show you the love. And I couldn't find it. And finally, it came to me. And actually, a roast would be very appropriate. So that's what I'm doing. I have one to pass along to Bill Ackerley, because without Bill, we would not have this evening tonight. We would have this evening a year from tonight. Because I was under the impression, and I'm about to give away my dingbat,
He lied!
that he was turning 49 this year.
We've all wondered, Mike.
5 weeks ago, I'm at Bill's house, and he makes just a casual comment about this is a big year for the guy, for Mike, and I looked at Bill, and I looked at Mike, and Mike looked like a deer in headlights.
What a surprise.
So I really appreciate that, or else we would have been celebrating his 51st. Kind of loses some steam. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce our first roaster, Mr. Brian Ditmore.
That was spontaneous, by
Yeah, I got some notes here, so we're gonna put this thing right here. I promise not to sing.
I don't know, I got Mike here.
I'll sing with you.
Billy Ackerley, the puppet master of the whole thing today. There's glasses up here and everything. Cool. Well, Timmy sent out this thing this week, a couple days ago. I'm not sure I can read this. This is kind of fun. This is actually the email stream. There was a list of guys that went out. There's a list of guys, and we're not gonna give away the secret. We're not giving away the secret, but there's a lot of frickin' men on this island that don't work in the afternoon. There's guys watching Oprah and shit, and Ackerley's in here a half dozen times trying to find, Simon Poole, and I said I've seen him up at Meadowmere, and his gas bag and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I got small notes here, so hopefully I can read them. I'm Brian Whitmore. or Diddy, as thank you, Mr. Sheehan has circulated through the island. He was one of the first guys here that they called me that. My high school nickname, Diddy. The kids love that, and I thank Mike for that. I'm appropriately attired in all black because this is what you do after you turn 50, Mike. You lose your hair, you get fat, you dress in black, and you look skinny. That's how it is. And you're ready for, funerals and all that kind of stuff. But thank you, Michael. You're good.
You look good.
And by the way, your birthday's like in a couple weeks, but welcome to my decade, pal. A year and a half ago, Mike and Kim very courteously hosted. Jody's a month younger than I am, but we both turned 50 a little over a year ago, and Mike and Kim hosted a beautiful, soft lighted, candles and salads and feelings kind of evening for us. Ryan Rice compiled a video file thing that we did on an overhead, photos of Jody and I in college. And again, red hair up to here, and I was skinny and athletic and all that kind of stuff. But none of that crap's going to happen tonight, pal. No salads, no frickin' feelings. On that note, there's a lot of men on this list that not these two bastards, but there's a couple of guys who of questionable character who may, throw out a few F-bombs. Actually, those aren't accepted at one point. Mother is not okay at one point. Jackass, shit for brains are okay because, usually on the first tee it's like, nice swing, jackass. I'm sure if Mike was winning money today, I'm sure there was a few of those flying out there. Mike and I share a couple of things other than being tall and good looking. We are both dyed-in-the-wool mama's boys. For those of you who have not had the pleasure of meeting Mike's mom, and the only description you have of her is from Mike, who's going, yeah, Mike, I was with Edward Almoro doing the war and all that kind
she is an absolutely fabulous woman who obviously just pussy whipped her son the whole time he was growing up. She's like 93 freaking years old, which if my mother were alive today, she passed away 15 years ago, my mother would have been 93, we found that out. They were born of the same, kind of the same ilk, and tough freaking broad. And you know, on that note, being a mama's boy, I wanted one of the things that I have never missed in my whole entire life is the Academy Awards, which are tonight. Thanks, shithead. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant that for Kim. Kim and I are, by the way, hon, I canceled that 10 o'clock meeting in Bremerton tomorrow because Kim and I will be having coffee at my house watching the DVR version of the Academy Awards, right? Never missed an Academy Awards with my mother the entire time I'm growing up. You're fucking 50. And I'm missing the Academy Awards. Sorry, Elizabeth Engstrom said that was... Sorry. I'm missing the Academy Awards, the red carpet show. The kids are at home right now, both because they got the flat screen upstairs and the 32-inch deal downstairs. Both of the TiVos are like going nuts right now. The kids are watching something, and why can't I change the channel? That's unbelievable. Common themes. You know, family man, community leader, loving father, husband, son. None of those categories fit. Not a freaking one of them, I'll tell you that. If you, and I'll leave the Little League stuff to the professionals who actually had to endure time in the dugout, in the belly of the beast with him, as it were. My experience with coaching my son was the second grade coach pitch Durham Bulls, of which Mike co-coached with Mr. Ackerley, and Mr. Wilbrock as well. And fabulous group of kids. Devereaux Kessler's dad. Devereaux played on that team as well. And God bless Jeff Kessler. He put together a videotape of a tournament we played at in West Seattle. And we never won a game. But the kids all got medals and they were thrilled. But I'll tell you, you got Ackerley, McCombs. McCombs, were you there?
I know nothing.
Ackerley, no, that's right, I think this, yeah, and stories that you were from Mercer Island and stuff. Right? You got Ackerley, Wellbrock, and Sheehan screaming the same crap at second graders that they've been screaming at them for the last 6 years. Steven, run! It wasn't Mo yet, it was Ryan. I don't know, Mo was later in the Rockies, but you get these three guys lined up, they're second graders, for Christ's sake. They can barely get out of the bathroom without toilet paper hanging out of the bathroom, so they're yelling at it. We play this game I found it in the garage and I plugged it into my computer and I was like, oh my God, these guys are nuts. Anyway, I met his mom last summer over at their house, and it was just an incredible experience. Sitting there in the little table in the kitchenette kind of deal, and Mike was grilling her for these stories about when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. She was playing paddle tennis, when the planes were flying overhead. She's revealing these stories, and the stuff with Edward R. Murrow and the old radio days and sales days, and some FBI guy that she was pulling on like an old boot that she moved to Washington, D.C. to be with, and the guy fell off a boat. She met J. Edward Hoover. Remember all this stuff? It was fabulous. And there was a story about a dog driving the car, and she told it to I don't remember any of that, but Mike's going, hey, Mom, what about Pops? She's like, there's no good stories about it. Blew off the whole thing. I'm not sure he's not older than 50, actually. Anyway, Mike's got a great passion for sports, and I saw some of it literally as recently as last night at the 8th grade rec game when Mike almost went out on the floor and attacked the referee for bad call on Sam Rice. Billy's standing there next to him. He'd already pissed Billy off, asking him a question about the girls at the Twins team, and they're going at it a little bit. And Mike's screaming at this ref, and I'm like, I gotta go. I can't stay here very long. Well, my favorite all-time sports team story about Mike is third grade basketball. third grade Parks League rec basketball, right? I'm the second year. It's my second year on the island. I've been through the Durham Gold thing the year before. I'm coaching with Jim Harmon. You know, probably one of the nicest guys on the island. Mike is down at the other end of the bench. I mean, the coaching the other team. We're at the Blakely Gym, you know, which is like the sign of death in the first place. You know, well, you go into the Blakely Gym, it's cool. And he's coaching with, you know, the Black Demon of the night, Greg Welbrock. And the kids are going at it pretty good. Ryan Schreck, God bless him, is on. Rico's on our team. Ryan Schreck, Dan O'Connor. Ryan Schreck, again, you know, one of the nicest kids you can meet. He's checking Stephen, right? And Ryan's on him, and he's grabbing him by the jersey, right? And, you know, to kind of hang on to him and keep him, you know, because Stephen's good and Mike's looking down at us like we coached him to do that. And he starts yelling at Jim and I, right? Jim and I, for God's sakes, you know? I'm like, and I'm of course going, yeah, right, yeah, we did that. We're doing that on purpose. Mike gets all sideways about halfway through the second half, calls a timeout. We got a teenager reffing the team, right? Teenager in the gym reffing the team. Kids, you know, like 13 years old, something like that. During the timeout, Mike goes out on the floor and he grabs the kid by the shirt in order to demonstrate to him what Ryan is doing to Steven. And he starts shaking this kid. He starts shaking this kid like this. He's just going nuts. Right? And I'm looking over at this guy. Wow, Mike's really, he's off the meds tonight. The kid takes off his whistle, throws it in his bag, grabs his bag, goes out of the gym, and he's on his phone calling his dad to come pick him up. It was Nick Flynn. It was Nick Flynn, God bless him. And the moral, I get a phone call from Dave Brown, who manages the league on Sunday afternoon. At home, I'm washing the car. Brian, I'm really just trying to gather some evidence. He's been in here for a couple games, right? He's out for a couple. He's like double secret probation. And the moral of the story, obviously, Nick, senior captain of the basketball team, led in the state last year. He's a great kid. And even the worst examples by a parent can foster a kid to great things. True story. And I've gotten a shitload of miles out of that in the last 6 years.
Ryan is okay.
Ryan's okay too. Yeah, thank God. Oh my God, Stephen never quite been the same. I don't know whether to blame that on Mike or Greg, but thank God they got Kathleen and Ken. Anyway, my 5 minutes is almost up. 5 minutes, right?
I'm in at 13, baby!
Battery time.
I only got one more battery!
I want to close. Because Mike's a mama's boy, I just wanted to close real quickly with a poem. My favorite poem was actually read to me by one of my best friends at Jody's and my wedding. And I actually read it to, it's not dirty. I actually read it a little more than a month later at my mother's funeral. And it was it's framed, it's in my bathroom at home, because that's where it was in my sister gave it to her, and it was in a framed thing in the bathroom at my mom's house, and it's you've all heard it a billion times. It's called Success, How You Measure It, by Emerson. To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and affectionate children, to earn the appreciation of honest, I screwed that up already. To earn the appreciation of honest critics, can't read my own handwriting. To earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends. To appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know that even one life is breathed easier because you have lived, this is to have succeeded. Now, Mike, I think you got a couple of those things you got to catch up on still, but most of those categories you fit dead solid, perfect into, pal. And I love you, and happy 50th.
Now, of course, we all know that Brian is a professional entertainer, and with that, he knows that timing is everything. And he lobbied very, very hard with Kim to make sure that he got to go first. Because he knew that he could, get the crowd going, but also that all the material he just used, that if anybody else used it, they would, of course, be copying him. If anyone else used it in front of him, then, of course, it would be lost. So then he went down the list of people and he said, okay, who would be nice enough to follow that act? And, of course, the one guy who would pick to be the coach of the Yankees for Little League, when his favorite team, bar none, die hard, is the Boston Red Sox, said, okay, I'll go second. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Holmes.
Man alive, I gotta follow that. Well, midway through Brian's speech, I'm thinking, man, this guy's funny. I can't keep up with that. And then he comes up with a really downer poem to bring everybody down.
Fuck you, Doug. That was my mom's poem.
Anyway, I prepared a little bit for Mike today. Oh, I mean, I was really honored to be asked by Kim to be one of the roasters for Mike's 49th birthday. 50th birthday? 50th. 50th. Mike, you're 50. You're 50.
5.
Right. 55. 55. Mike, it seems like your age changes depending on who you're dating at the time. So you're 50? You're 50?
I'm 50.
What does that say about Kim?
It says he's keeping it real.
Keeping it real. Mike, happy 50th birthday.
Thank you.
We moved here to the island about 5 years ago, and we signed our kids up for Little League, and that's where I first ran into Mike. We were coaching the AAA Padres, and our first game was against the Yankees. And I'm thinking, okay, this is a pretty neat island, but there's this guy coaching third base. He just kind of stood there like this. And every time the umpire would call a strike, he goes,
Who could that be?
Greg, where are you? Greg's down.
Right here.
We know him as Greg Wellrock. So our second game was against the Mets. And the Mets, this team was obviously coached by two guys that knew nothing about baseball. There was this one guy, this Ackerley guy. You mean the basketball guy? He knows nothing about baseball. So he's on third base. He's using language. He's using language like, "Gosh darn, Robbie, quit your lollygagging." And then halfway through the game, I thought he was coaching the team by himself, but finally realized that he did have an assistant coach. He was the guy leaning on the fence. I mean, if he wasn't flirting with the women in the stands, he was in the dugout joking with the kids and giving them all nicknames. And as you know, that's our Mikey. Funny thing is that I never saw him ever coach any baseball. Mike, he's always entertaining. We went out golfing. There were four of us. Went out golfing about a couple of weeks ago, and the guy shows up. The guy shows up in this goofy hat. Stand up, Mike. Stand up, please. Stand up. Okay, and have you ever seen Mike with a hat on? And he shows up with Lauren's club. And that's what he looks like. And he goes, you know, Well, I haven't played much lately. But, so I mean, looking like he does. How many strokes did you give him?
At least 5 aside. Not too many.
So we ended up giving him a stroke a hole, and yeah, exactly. He cleans up. He wipes us out. Well, at least he wiped Greg out.
Same story today.
How'd you do today, Greg?
He cleaned me out again.
Brian, we play with you couple of days ago. How do you do with you?
I'm going to shoot in the 95s. Ended up on 81.
What do you know that?
I've been there.
Oh.
I know. Can I sit down now?
Yeah, you may sit down.
Take the hat off.
Take the hat off, please.
Hold on, I need to Chapter 2. My son, we were riding home from baseball practice the other night, and my son really said it best when he said, Rico and Mo are so lucky. Kim is always so nice, and Mike is so funny. They have such a cool family, and he is so right. They are so right for each other. That family's blended together, and they are such a cool family. And I just want to say, Mike, let's raise our glasses. Thank you for bringing a little fun into all of our lives. I have never worked with that man.
I told Kim that I would wing it, and that I will probably make some mistakes along the way. That's mistake number 1.
No, Adam Cole was the first mistake.
No. The best compliment that Simon has ever received. Ladies and gentlemen, I got the name right. This is Brian Clement.
The truth is, Mike and I were lovers back in the 70s. Like most of the women in his life, he broke my heart.
How old was he then?
Well, he only had one eyebrow. And I'm glad you shaved it for tonight. That's good. I wrote like 30 minutes worth of shit. I'm sitting here looking at the clock thinking, I want out of here. So I'm going to try to cut it down to 2 minutes. To be honest, Mike, I didn't want to come. The only reason I'm here is that Kim promised me that you would pay me the $20 you borrowed 3 years ago.
See him.
From the size of the travel, it looks like I'm not the only one you borrowed money from. When Kim called, my wife Donna took the message, and so I got the information secondhand, and things got crossed up because I was under the impression I had to say good things about you. And I thought, oh shit, this is going to be a problem. So, over the years, we have about 15 friends that are mutual friends of ours, and so I called them and said, in hopes that someone would have something good that I could use. 0. So I was just about to call Kim back and say, look, there's no way I can say anything good. I mean, I have nothing. You're going to have to find somebody else. And then I realized, wait a minute, you yourself make me feel good. I know. Well, he's looking there. He's looking confused. Let me try to explain this. You know, I have a habit of losing my wallet, and it's a weekly occurrence. And I feel so stupid, like such an idiot. And then I remember, wait a minute, Mike lost a car. And there were a few years ago, I was the proud owner of 2 homes on the island. And I thought, how the hell did I get myself into this mess? And then I remembered, Mike owned 3 houses. We just moved back from Arizona a few months ago. We served a year down there. And while I was down there, I sold my pickup truck and bought this little 2-seat red sports car that holds 1 bag of groceries. And after a few months, I started scratching my head thinking, oh, this was a stupid purchase. It's so impractical. And I felt, humiliated and whatever else you feel. And then I started thinking about Mike. And I thought back to the Cairo car, the station wagon that didn't have defrost. And so when you ride with Mike, here, take this towel. You got to keep wiping it down as you ride. The Mercedes-Benz, straight out of Goodfellas. And then there was the ozone-killing pickup truck that you could see him coming miles away with the smoke billowing out of him. So after thinking about that, I thought, you know what, this isn't such a dumb purchase. And a couple years ago, I ride my bike to work every day, and a couple years ago I was riding to the ferry at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I ran a stop sign, and I got a ticket. And I felt pretty humiliated about getting a speeding ticket. I ran a stop sign at 5:30 in the morning on a bicycle. That's pretty stupid. And as I was about to go to court to fight the ticket, I was still feeling pretty humiliated, and then I remembered Mike and the 150 parking tickets you had in your glove box. Once again, I felt good about myself. I thought so much about you that I wrote this yesterday, and I was letting my son read it. He's 16, and he's reading at the table, and he's just laughing all the way through. And at the end, he said, "God, wouldn't it be funny if this stuff were true?" And I looked at him and said, "The sad story is it's all true." Mike, these are just a few examples of how you've made me feel better about my shortcomings. And I have to assume that you have touched everyone's lives in the same way. Thank God we have you to compare ourselves to. And I truly hope you live another 50 years, because I need more Sheehan blunders to help me feel better about myself. Hey, as far as the $20 goes, I'd like cash this time. We know what happened the last time we wrote a check. Happy birthday, Mike.
Hi, I'm Steve Queen. Unlike many of you, I don't have a long relationship with Mike. So instead of embarrassing stories, I'll just make some general observations. The reason I'm standing here today, simply, gravity. 50 years old. Wow. Kim, you probably feel pretty weird about that. Having sex with a 50-year-old? It's kind of gross. It's like having sex with your grandfather. It's all perspective, right? But hey, Mike, you might get a little sympathy sex tonight. It's tough getting old, so I'm told. So Mike, and, Tom Crowley, Niels Thompson and I are sitting in the back of the boat one day, and Crowley goes, Jesus Christ, my age, I just wish I could take a normal piss. Thompson's going, oh, at my age, I just wish I could take a regular crap. So Mike's like, Jesus, every day, hey, I take a piss at 6 a.m., crap at 11. I just wish I could get up before noon. So, as a person gets older, one builds on accomplishments, and Mike's had a long and storied career at King 5 TV. As he's progressed through the ranks, he's taken on more and more responsibility, and I was talking to some of his colleagues tonight, and they go, Mike does the work of 3 men. Mo, Larry, Curly. He's a maverick, he's a free thinker. Mike, whoever told you to be yourself, couldn't have given you worse advice. I mean, seriously. You want people to accept you as you are, or do you want them to like you? No, actually, Mark's... I fucked this up all week long, I've been practicing. What was your name? Mike's a pretty sharp guy. Nothing goes over his head. That's because it's so big. It's like an oversized pumpkin with ears. Honest to God, you should have been nothing the kids have kind of care, because baby, you got some blue ribbon material. Look at all the people here today. Holy cow. Most of us couldn't help but be here tonight. It's because Mike's head's like a big plant with its own gravitational pull. Sweeps you in. Honest to God, there are people pinned to the side of the building tonight. Really. Speaking of planets, did you all see that lunar eclipse the other night? Wednesday night? That wasn't the Earth shadow. That was Mike standing up in the backyard. Honest to God, his head is so big it affects the tides. It's bigger than a Thanksgiving turkey. No. Mike's head has its own climate. Speaking of climate, honestly, I swear, if there was never an ice age, you could take Mike's hat and just wrap it around the earth. For a 50-year-old, Mike's a physically fit guy. But you should see him after he works out. His head gets all red. And he looks like a tomato on a stick. You don't see a lot of close-up photos of Mike. Head won't fit in the picture. Mike's pretty involved with youth sports. That's where I met him. And that guy loves coaching football. But unfortunately, Mike didn't play any football as a child. No helmet. Well, Mike, on the bright side, at least your head grew up rather than to the sides. Because otherwise, instead of bobblehead, we'd call you hammerhead. Having a big head is tough. I mean, think about it. Fat people don't wear clothes with horizontal stripes, makes them look fatter. Skinny people don't wear pants with pleats, makes them look skinnier. But what do you wear to make your head look smaller? Beanies, do-rags, I don't know what. But then you go check out a guy like Ackley. Hey, Bill, who dresses you in the morning? Stevie Wonder? But hey, you know what? There's a lot of famous people with big heads. Jay Leno, Shaquille O'Neal, Barry Bonds, Humpty Dumpty. Big heads, man. Well, you know what they say, ladies. Big head, little dick. What? You think Humpty Dumpty had a big dick? No. Humpty baseball. So happy birthday, Mike. Alright, so my time's up. The party's just getting started, right? So next up is the man who invented the reach around. The guy who put his noodle in the strudel. The former East German women's 200-meter freestyle Olympic silver medalist, Niels Kronstadt.
So that's the worst thing, following the queen. So I figured I definitely couldn't do anything with words, so I just standing for 5 minutes and look a little bit silly. So maybe I can have as many laughs. Let me see, I'm going to trip over this cord. Mike, happy birthday. I got something for you. Well, I'm looking silly, I got to make sure you look silly too.
Oh yeah. Is it big enough?
Yeah, it's big enough. I want an extra large. Here you go.
Still ain't big enough.
You're right, Steve. He does have a very big head. So, baseball, yeah? Yeah. Okay, catch. Okay. All right, you can keep that. Just wanted to check if you can break anything or something. So, that worked. Okay, check that joke out. That didn't work. So, yeah, we gotta make up some time. So I'm gonna limit myself to only 2 stories on Mike. Gotta go back to my prop there.
Hide it.
I'll give you more of those if you like those. So, the time I got to know Mike really well initially was at Indian Guides. That was probably the second. Sorry, Mike, but you know, all these other guys have good stories. They're gonna come up with this one. So this was probably Mike's second time around because it was with his daughter Lauren, and this was up at Orcas Island, and obviously Lauren was probably very excited to go out on the rowboat with her dad, and because they were out there first thing, right? And sorry, it's what you get when you do cleanup. So by the time I got there with my son, Mike was already way out there. And this is up Orcas Island, you know, open ocean close by. And I was wondering, you know, Mike's really having a good time with Lauren there. It's going around in circles and the tide is drifting out there. So I decided just to go out there and kind of pull him for a little trick because the rowboat that I got was one of the last ones. And the paddles, the oars that I had, the little cuff on the paddle that fixes the oar to the actual boat was all loose and wasn't working at all. So I decided to row it out there, and Mike was a little distraught. He kind of looked like, oh, thanks, Niels, thanks for coming out here. I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm having a hard time rowing this boat. Like, I have just a thing for you. I mean, just take one of my oars. This is extra nicely attached to the boat, and use that one. Then give me your oar that isn't working so well. So he was eager to trade the paddles with the oars, and I used his nice oar and kind of rowed away, and had a nice grin on my face. But it dawned on me right then that Mike, in his frustration, looking at how to attach the oar to the rowboat, had no idea the technical intricacies of a rowboat. So I kind of felt bad, and Lauren wasn't too happy either. You should have heard her cursing. That makes Steve Queen sound like a first grader. I went back out there, and you know, we kind of paddled him back in, and I didn't have to say anything to him because he got it from Lauren the whole way. You're the worst dad in the world! I've never gone to the water with you again! So I felt really bad for him. So if you ever go out on a rowboat again, SOS is long, 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 short, 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 long, long, long. have that close by when you go out. So my second story is much closer to my heart. Mike is also a very sick individual. And I love telling those types of stories, right? So some of you may know that every now and then I have the pleasure of swimming with Mike at the pool. But besides the usual swim gear, Mike also brings his cell phone to the pool. Every time, it never fails. So usually the first thing that he does when he gets out of the pool and comes in the locker room is he gets out his phone. Goes straight to his locker, gets out his phone, and you know, it goes something like this. You know, here's his phone, and he's in the locker room. Hi, hon. Yeah, we're done swimming. Yeah, I'll be home in a little bit. So he's still in the locker room. He goes through his fave 5 list, and you know, that's the next one. Hey, Billy. Hey, what do you think about contracting the league and having a total redraft? Yeah. Okay. All right. So by this time I'm thinking, Mike, get dressed, man. Come on, let's go. Well, no, here's the third one then, right? Hey, Tomas. Hey, we should contract Little League and do a total redraft. No, I'm at the pool. No, I'm in the locker room. Yeah, with Niels. Naked. So, being close to Mike, you're at your own risk. And some of you have heard the stories about, you know, Mike swimming, and you know, he talks about he never had one. So I wanted to make sure that it's not like he swims in a parachute, and it really defeats the purpose of swimming. So I have a larger model than this, I promise. But I think that when you actually do start racing, because you got the stuff of being a racer, you need to wear this. And
I fit over my head, Steve.
yeah, I don't know who's next, Billy. Do you have the list?
I got you. There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, big guy.
We needed some big body, someone who wouldn't say no, to make sure that Mike did something today that would distract him enough so that he would not know what's going on. The leader of the gang was Mr. Chris Angstrom. Chris, you're up next, buddy. Let's go.
Thank you, Bill. Mike, I would have thought with all the abuse you're getting, that would be pretty difficult, but probably the hardest part for you is not running up here and grabbing a mic like you normally would. I don't think there's a microphone or a camera you don't jump in front of when you get an opportunity. Anyway, it is an honor to be part of the elite group that's up here speaking tonight to celebrate Mike's retirement. That looks great. But I am honored to be one of the speakers up here tonight, because I'm probably one of the people here that has known him the least of anyone in this room. Mike and I have shared probably 1 billion hours together on the sidelines, either coaching kids, watching them play, or in the case of soccer, embarrassing our kids by shouting helpful hints from the sidelines. My youngest son, Cameron, and Mo used to play soccer together. And there's always a treat to know that every Saturday I get to spend all the time with Mike on the sidelines. And unlike the other sports that my son played, Cameron had to learn the sport from someone else, because I never played it growing up and knew nothing about soccer whatsoever. Which is always tough for a dad, because you always want to pretend like you know what you're doing and what you can do to help these little guys. So I always look forward to spending the Saturdays with Mike because he's such a great sports enthusiast. And I knew he had a tremendous amount of experience, probably in every sport that was out there. So it was a great opportunity for me to learn the sport sitting next to Mike, which was a little bit of a shocker. So my first experience with Mike watching the kids play soccer included watching him, like you were talking about basketball, run up and down the court yelling things out to the kids. Mike was doing that a bunch of times to Mo, and I'm figuring this guy knows what he's talking about. He's saying some stuff I've never heard before, and I'm thinking, shit, this guy really knows how to motivate a kid and show him how to go and play soccer. So I'm hearing words like serpentine, slash, spin kick. So knowing that, this guy knows everything about sports, right? I'm thinking, if I say the same kind of stuff, I'll probably sound pretty smart to my kid. So I'm yelling the same sort of things to Cameron. Serpentine. Slash. Spin kick. And at that point I watched Mo come across the field toward us, runs right by us along the sidelines, looks at Mike and he says, "Dad, stop yelling that stuff." Then I get a sense he didn't quite know what he was talking about, but that couldn't be outdone. Because then my son comes right behind Mo, looks at me and goes, "Dad, what are you talking about?" So kind of like the case of McCombs, makes you feel a little better, Mike. Like a way of making us feel good. So it's a special night. I think it's great that you allowed us to participate in this. And made my ego feel much better knowing that I know nothing about soccer and you know less. But personally, I want to make sure that someone says thank you for all you've done for this community, for the kids, giving them a great experience in sports. The amount of time you devote to that stuff is very impressive, and you're the best. Happy birthday, Mike.
3 years of my life was being the assistant to the president of Little League, Mike Sheehan. Mike didn't really know what to do, and so he just said, "Bill, I'm going to be the mouthpiece. I'm going to call you, and you tell me what to do and everything." I said, "Mike, there for you." The problem was we got to about a year. Yeah, I know. I thought that was the next minute. Of course, Mike knew that he was shorthanded, and he tried every year because Kaminsky dumped it on him after a year. And Mike's like, "I gotta get out of here after a year." But nobody wanted to become president of Little League because they didn't want to clean up his mess. That was created probably by me. So finally after 3 years, Mike finds a sucker. She'll do it. So instead of just merely commiserating with the president of Little League over the phone, I now sleep with the president of Little League. And she's smart enough not to listen to a thing I say. Ladies and gentlemen, Carolyn Ackroyd.
I had images of Mike and Bill's.
Go stop the video right now.
Sorry.
It's rolling.
I have been told by Dwayne Shrek that we are not really roasters, but we're roosters. And I think that makes me a hen. Actually, I was thinking about all the stories I could tell about Mike. And it seemed like as I went through my list of experiences that I've had with Mike, every time I worked the story through, I was the one getting roasted. Or roosted. And yeah, the whole story of Little League is a good example.
Thank you, Carolyn.
But as I walked in this evening, I noticed this fine picture of Mike here in his wetsuit, and he had just completed his race from Alcatraz. That was an event that he trained hard for, and I know he trained hard for that because I work at the pool early in the morning, and I used to see Mike training before work. And he'd come into the pool and he had all his gear. He had his spins, he had his special mitts, and he was over in his lane and he was swimming hard. And he swam so hard he started to get faster than some of the very small kids on the team. He had to swim over him,
Mike had a Mercedes that he parked underneath the viaduct, and in those late mornings when he would get up and actually go to work, he'd come down to his Mercedes, and one day he saw that I needed a ride, so he says, "Hey Bryce, why don't you come with me? Let's take a ride, let's go back to the office together." Okay, well, turnabout started to play. We're in the car, and of course he's gabbing away on the freaking telephone. He's pulling out, and what's this thing, a 1982 Mercedes 500 SL or something, some beat machine, puts it in reverse, and he says, "Hey, I love this car, this is a great car, it's never had a scratch on it." And of course he's crashed into the car behind us. Well, I'll have to get that taillight fixed later. I don't think he ever got the taillight fixed later. Never did. It was a good quality vehicle. I don't know whose vehicle he bought or if it's one of yours. Anyway, that's all. I don't have much more to say about Mike other than we do love you, Mike. You're a great friend. You're a lot of fun to work with. I go to work every day because I'm wondering what the hell is going to come out of that guy's mouth.
Actually, I don't remember his name yet. And there's a man on the hill. We don't know who the man is, but we come to learn later from Brian Dittmore his name is the Black Demon. He's standing up there, looking at us as we're coaching these young boys. How to do the best job we can. But he's looking very firm and critical. I said, "Mike, what do we do?" "I don't know, what do we do?" Well, I learned from Bill Harper the best thing to do is to embrace your enemies. Let's bring him into the fold. Let's invite him to join us. Maybe then we'll learn what this black force is really all about. And so he came down the hill. We said, "Hey, what do you do?" He said, "Hey, I was a pitcher in high school." And we said, "Oh, really?" "Then why don't you pitch batting practice to the boys?" "I'd love to, thank you very much." "By the way," we asked, "why are you here?" "Oh, that's my son right over there. His name's," by the way, his name is Steve. "Oh, very good. That's nice. Steve's a nice boy. And yours, Dan?" So we give the guy the ball at batting practice. He sets up. He looks like he knows what he's doing. He's throwing from 46 feet. That's 75 miles an hour. Mike and I are still a little intimidated. We don't know what to do. And so finally, again, Mike does this to me. Ready? Come on, people, please, as he done this to you before. Mike proceeds to do what he does very well, stands behind me and does it. Mr. Welcome, don't you think you're throwing the ball a little too hard? It's 75 miles an hour. These are 9-year-old, no, I'm sorry, 8-year-old boys. It's about time they learn, don't you think? And this year he's going to be coaching your children in baseball. And you know what? I love the guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Wellbrook.
The man on the hill. He's got his summer colors on.
5 minutes. You took my whole script. Holy cow, how can I add anything to these fantastic stories? You know, what can we say about a man who's admired, revered, and loved by everyone? Well, I can start by saying he's not the man for Arnhem United. All of you know Mike. You know Mike, he doesn't suffer from a split personality. I know you guys find that hard to believe, but I mean, if he did, why would he choose to use this one? And why should I say anything nice about it? My mom always said, it's better to tell the truth. So, my first memories of Mike go back to 2000, 2001, right? And I got the call that Stephen, my oldest son, my prized boy, was selected to play on a single A baseball team coached by Mike Sheehan and Bill Ackerley. I thought, okay, yeah, Ackerley sounds like someone I can trust to coach Stephen. Oh, did I know? Because the name sounded familiar, and he was a college fraternity brother with my brother-in-law. But who was this other guy, Mike Sheehan? I'd heard that someone that they were a wonderful coaching pair, great with the boys, blah, blah, blah. So I show up at the practice to check out these guys, and I took up my perch in center field.
First baseline.
First baseline. And I saw Bill out there, but I couldn't figure out which of the 13 other kids running around was this Mike Sheehan guy. That's when I folded my arms and wrinkled my brow. It wasn't long after that I was approached by this 6'3" kid. And I think the story goes like this. Bill turns to Mike and says, "Go check out this guy, see if he has a gun. And if he doesn't, ask him if he's interested in throwing BP." I thought the only way I was going to keep an eye on Mike was to join in and help out. Plus, I might get to meet this Ackerley guy. So now fast forward to AAA baseball. Stephen got drafted by the Yankees. They had no interest in Stephen, so.
That was you.
And this wonderful duo of Mike and Bill, go figure, he coached another team called the Mets. And of course, the Yankees played their butts off that year and limp into the playoffs. Everybody gets into the playoffs in AAA, right? With a sub-500 record, if I recall. And it was, of course, that the Mets had dominated that year, and they had everyone playing for second place. I mean, it was no doubt who was going to win the championship that year. It was the Mets.
Oh, excuse me.
We played the Padres later. They weren't much. Well, lo and behold, the Yankees win a couple of playoff games, and next up are the mighty Mets. So picture this: we arrive at Rotary Field in what I recall is one of the semifinal games, and as soon as I step onto the field, the Mets players are telling me just how bad they're going to beat the Yankees. I looked at each one of the guys as I walked past the dugout, and I said, you're right. You are happy. We are just happy to be on the same field with the collection of Mets that there are, and they're surely going to go down as one of the best AAA teams ever on Bainbridge Island. And they're coached by Mr. Sheehan and Mr. Ackerley. You guys have got it made. Well, I knew then this was a Mike Sheehan coach team. Confident in their ability, not afraid to tell the opposition to their faces just how they felt about them. Next thing I remember is Mike yelling to the team, "Stop, let's hear that freak in the Yankees cap." I loved it. I asked someone where the championship trophy was, and they said Mike had already shipped it off to an engraver with the instructions to put Mets on it. Mike was surely going to win the championship, or 2 or 3, if he could keep Bill from getting in the way. And that was going to be the first of many that someday we would call that building behind Lower Rotary Mike Shed. Something happened
haven't gone the way you have been. The Mets, they have our backs to the wall, and we go into the top of the 6th. Bill, you got the stats.
I don't want to hear it.
But we're down 7-3 or something like that. I mean, it wasn't even, and it was,
Be careful how you tell the story.
all of a sudden, miracles start to happen, right? Kids who can't hit their way out of wet paper sacks start to hit tall Paul, linesman down third base. Remember that? Clearing the bases. Quinn puts the ball, battle the ball, crazy stuff starts to happen everywhere. Bill and Mike huddle. Mike telling Bill what to do to stop the bleed. Too late. 3 outs later, we're up 15-7. I remember looking over at Mike and laughing. He wasn't. No way. The Yankees win the AAA crown. Mets don't. Mike's still looking for hardware.
Tell about that umpire paid off.
So, let me finish by saying that Little League Baseball success hasn't changed Mike one bit. Or even come even close to anywhere near him for that matter. Mike, I love you. Thanks for letting me tell this story. It's a great. Some of the details, you know, I might have forgotten, but love you, brother. Happy birthday.
I don't know how I say this. I can say it. There are some people who know how to do things right. And there are some people who do things a different way. Mike, you go to a beer, or a Diet Coke with a lime. Our next speaker won't.
Not you, Greg. I'm gonna get a beer.
And there are people who want to just change people because they think it's just not right. It's just not right. Diet Coke and lime. You gotta change it. And then, but of course, we all know Mike's a rock, so you can't change it. And so one night, Simon, Poole, and Mike got together for the swim baseball tournament in which Mike lost that historic swim race to someone. And they stayed in a house that Mike was all excited about because he got it for free from a casino owner. And who knew? How did I know? And Simon said, you know what, Mike is a pretty funny guy, a lot of fun, have fun and hang out. I'm going to live like him. So he did. And the two of them spent the whole night drinking Diet Cokes. With a line. With 2 boys in a house with no beds, no furniture, no nothing, and most importantly, no alarm clock. Carol and I were staying in really luxurious accommodations about 10 miles further away from the field than Mike and Simon. We're staying in a, what is it, what do they call those again? Mobile home. Okay. And we're driving by the casino, and of course, Carolyn knows I got an itch. I'm a sucker for craps. I like craps, I admit it. And we're going by, I'm looking at the casino, and all of a sudden, I think about it. Let's go see if Simon and Mike are ready to go. Maybe they're still there. And Carolyn said, of course, being the mature mom that she is, no, Bill, they're not there. We're late. They can't possibly be as late as we are. We go up to the door, we knock, we rap on it, bang, 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 bang. Actually, no one answers. Carolyn says, see, I told you, they're not here, they're gone, they're beyond. Bang, 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 bang. Finally, Simon shows up at the door. He's got a blanket wrapped around his body. I don't know what's underneath, don't want to know. I'm like, Simon, you look horrible. He says, I had a caffeine headache. I spent all night with Mike, and I couldn't sleep. Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Poole.
know me as Adam.
Only half the time.
Fucking trust boy over here. Trust I'm number 10 on this list. Which tells you where I sit. I'm going to unwrap this because I've got so many things I want to say about Mike. Number 10. If you were on TV, I would be like between the ED adverts and the hemorrhoids.
Show where the mic is. Show where the mic is, Bill.
Can you get? Can you mic? You can't hear him?
Oh, piss off! Live mic.
Who's the mic?
Okay. So we're supposed to come up here and say when we first met Mike Shear.
He's not drinking Diet Coke tonight.
Tonight, baby. So the first time we met Mike Shear was about 10, maybe 12 years ago. I don't know if you remember Ron Callum. He used to work for Cairo. And he moved in next door to Kathy and I and invited us over for drinks, which is about the only way we'd ever go and see anyone anyway. We like you, but you can't drink your soda. So we go over there, it was very nice, we had a nice evening. There was just Callums and Mike, which was, it was okay. So we have a nice evening, and then we wander back, and Kathy is kind of stumbling around, and she says, "Well, I really like the Callums, but that other guy was such an awesome."
Really? 12 years later, this goes on.
I don't make this shit up. Anyway, I was taken back a bit tonight because we're at Wing Point again. Kelly and I used to be members here. I don't know how many of you know this. We used to be social members. Which in Bainbridge Island speak means white trash. White trash and that. So we used to bring the kids up here. We used to mess around in the swimming pool out here. And we used to make sure that we always came up here around 5 or 6 on the summer evening. And we'd beach ourselves. Well, I'd beach myself. Sorry, sweetie. I'd beach my fat ass on the shade. And my wife would flap around like a little butterfly across water. And our kids would run around and have a good time. And then the Bainbridge Island perfect couple would show up.
Wasn't me.
And what is the Bainbridge Island perfect couple these days? Well, they don't have children, that's for sure. He's like tall, lanky, slim, beautifully coiffed hair. Looks like a fucking citrus fruit. He's got that orange look. Like I say, we used to be members here.
We charge the drinks for your number.
And she, of course, would be absolutely perfect. I don't know why I'm holding this thing like this. I don't like this thing. It's like the Oscars, isn't it? Anyway, so she would be perfect. Tall, skinny, not a bump or curve on her. Well, if you vomit 3 times a day, you won't have a bump or curve.
Made him laugh.
That was funny.
Where are we
I
going?
can't remember what I was going to say. So yes, that's right. So,
That's where I was going.
a perfect couple would show up, and you know, they'd strut their stuff and you know, strip off. They'd be wearing the Speedo or the 2-piece, and then they'd dive into the water. And of course, by that time, they'd realize something terrible had happened, because 3 children, our 3 children anyway, can produce a huge amount of effluent. And when mixed with concrete and chlorine, it's quite a potent mix. And so right about now, they would have realized that they were about to have not a terribly wonderful experience if they were hoping for sort of sex or anything like that afterwards. Because now, you know, this joke has just gone completely. Anyway, so back to roast. Let me go back to roast. I'm looking. I keep looking at you, and I keep forgetting what the hell it is I'm supposed to say. So anyway, let's get back to the roast. Right. So Kim asked me to do this roast, and
It's all Kim's fault.
I have to say I had no idea what a roast was. I had to look it up. I had to go to the Google and rent DVDs. And I discovered that a roast was quite something different from what I imagined it would be. To the English, a roast is cooking a piece of meat. And you know what English cooking is like. A burnt piece of meat. And in recent years, you know, we've had to shy away from meat because of mad cow disease. But in our not too distant past, we've had other delicacies when roasting meat. For example, catlet on a stick. Or my personal favorite, prop dog. Well, I'm sorry if you know. Anyway. So
We're looking at it.
I went on the web and I discovered that in order to be a good roaster, you had to come up here and talk for about 4 or 5 minutes, and you had to tell a joke. Shit. Jesus, this thing's got a life of its own. You have to tell a joke. Now this joke couldn't be just any joke, it had to have certain attributes. And I discovered by watching Netflix that, and this is very scientific, that these jokes had to include a great deal of cursing and swearing, and to say the F word a great deal, probably about, you know, sort of 4 or 5 times a minute. You'd be talking for about 4 or 5 minutes, so it'd be like 25, 30 times. And that seemed like a lot to me. Unless, of course, you've ever forgotten your wedding anniversary. In which case, 5 minutes verbal abuse seems like a mercy killing. Besides the F word, or the F rate as we should call it, you have to talk about politics. Now, when you talk about politics, you have to be careful. People are very sensitive. Kathy and I are very pleased to announce that we don't know any Republicans.
Oh, yes, you do.
This is my story. Certainly no Republicans we like. So the joke has to entail some kind of political aspiration. By the way, right. You know, when I I first met him, he was like huge into conservatism and Attila the Hun type politics. We need to thank him for bringing him around. He is now going to vote for Osama. He hasn't you also have to have a joke that incorporates sex. Now, when it comes to sex, we have to have, well, it doesn't really matter what we have to have. Because with sex comes religion. And sex and religion go very well together. They sort of hand in hand. Sometimes.
Are they going? Is it over?
Yeah, that one. We also have to include medical practices or procedures. This brings me to a story about my chin. I'm number 10 for Christ's sake. Come on. I'm having to work hard to bring this shit. So, Kathy and I are having lunch in Paulsville with Adam, and we're minding our own business, and who should burst through the door larger than life but Mike Sheehan. And it was the day after his colonoscopy. I kid you not. And you know Mike. He's big, he's loud, and oh my God, we're all going to hear about this story. So he comes into the restaurant, he sits down with us, even though we were hiding under the table. He sits down with us, and he proceeds to have a three-way conversation. He's on his cell phone, that's obvious. He's talking to the waitress, trying to order something, and he's talking to Kathy. Now this pisses Kathy off. She takes away his cell phone. So now he has to sit there and talk to us about something decent. So he decides to tell us about his colonoscopy. And we're talking Technicolor with sound effects. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all the gory details, but there were parents stuffing their fingers in their children's ears. Middle-aged people running out of this restaurant, vomiting in the parking. And all Mike wants to do is order and eat. I don't know if you know the definition of what a colonoscopy is. Well, I went to Wikipedia to look this up. Now, a colonoscopy is when you have a light shoved up your ass in search of alien forms of growths. How in God's name did Sheehan ever pass that test? A bloody miracle. Anyway, so now we come to the joke. Okay. I'll be ready for the wait a minute. I'm going to read my notes. I can't see anymore. So the joke. Whew, there's young women. And all these elements have to be included, right? We've dealt with them all, I'm sure you can remember them. So this young woman knocks on the
pause. I might run out of tape on this one.
and she asks for help.
Just pause it.
And the mother. The point is that we love you. And I'm only sorry that more people couldn't be here tonight to see you celebrated for what you are, which is a damn fine human being. Don't think I didn't have jokes about other times, but obviously they don't work. But the point is that I knew you when I was.
Come on. Next! Put a timer on it. Who's next,
12
Billy?
minutes into that joke, and I don't get to hear the punchline. I gotta have him tell it again. 12 minutes that joke, I didn't get a punchline. I need the guy back up there today.
Easy there, Hitty.
I'm married to a woman with 3 brothers. She's very comfortable with men. I'm very famous for coming home from road trips, right? And I call her as I'm about to get on the ferry and say, "Get the boys out of there, I'm coming home."
Sounds terrible.
It does sound terrible, but it's true. You know it's true, right? And for 3 years, it was actually when Karen was on the board, it usually Kim, you know this is true, right? It was get Mike off the phone, get him out of the house, I'm coming home. I love the guy, but I don't want to see him when I get home. Now Mike's off the board. I'm relieved, but Carol now is president, and her VP of baseball is next speaker. Now when I call, I say, get the guy off the phone, get him out of my house, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Crowley.
All right. Here we go.
Crowley, here we go.
You ready, Mike? All right. My first joke was going to be following Simon in that a British guy can come up with the accent and be like, say basically anything, and it would be like he said with a British accent, it's all good, right? It's all like whatever. I don't know what he said, but it was cool. It was a British accent, and everybody's just like, that was neat. That didn't happen, I don't think. So my whole theory went out the window. Right now, it's gone. I have it. It's gone now. But thank you, Simon. Because stereotypes are meant to be broken.
First time ever.
The other thing is all the Bainbridge Island guys. Bryce Philippi was a Bainbridge Island guy, but he didn't come up with typewritten 3 pages with notes. All the rest of us uptight Bainbridge Island guys are here with notes. It's like we've got it all right here. It's all good. Right? We've been thinking about it for 3 weeks, and I've been uptight, and we're all worried about it. And I'm not particularly funny, so this is like I'm on the internet worrying about stuff, and Adrian's like, "What's wrong with you? What happened? What's going on?" And I was like, I got a roast and I'm not funny. This is going to be bad. I'm really worried about this. She's like, "You're so distant." I'm thinking about you. So, Mike, if I do nothing else for you, I've been worried about this roast for 3 freaking weeks since I left it off. All right, so don't ask for anything else. All right. The other thing I want to say is, there was this whole allusion to Accurately Wellbrock and Sheehan coaching 2nd graders, and I got to tell you, that's scary. I see them coaching 13-year-olds, and that's scary. Can you imagine 9-year-olds? I mean, that's not pretty. These poor kids have been affected for life. But in a good way, right? In a good way. That's right, a good way. Exactly. I'm not a funny guy. The only guy here less funny than me is Wellbrock, but he did a good job. So sound like Jay Leno, look like Jay Leno from time to time. Adrian's very offended by that, so I don't bring that up, but it may help me tonight. I don't know what to say. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, we don't have P. Diddy with us tonight, but we do have B. Diddy. Right, you want to do a little rap for us, B. Diddy?
I'm all done, Carl.
You're done, all right. Good Irishman, all right.
You can do the poem again.
Yeah, no, the poem was a downer. The poem was a downer. All right, let's talk about Mike Sheehan. That's why we're here, right? Honor you, Mike. Well, actually, I will say right from the beginning, I have nothing nice to say about you other than happy birthday. That's it. The rest is just like, I'm going to abuse you. All right, so let's just be clear on that, okay? But I will say that Mike is the greatest salesman that I've met. I've met a couple, one other guy I know in New York who was maybe in the same league as Mike, maybe, and his name was Chris O'Donnell, another Irishman. Obviously runs in the Irish, the gene pool. So Mike clearly has been to Ireland. He has gone to the Blarney Castle. He has kissed the Blarney Stone. And not only has he kissed it, I think that boy has made love to the Blarney Stone. It's the only explanation I have for what he is. But he is a great salesman. I mean, all of us have been sold by Mike in some way, shape, or form, right? I mean, I am here because I've been sold by Mike. I mean, let's face it, who would join the Bainbridge Little League board if you weren't sold by, somebody? Mike told me, oh, it's really a great time, really. We have not that much involvement, you really don't do that much, and you show up for the occasional meeting. It's really good, really great. It's like 2 years later, I'm exhausted, I'm ready to kill myself, and Mike's off the board, and it's like, Mike, this is not at all what you described. What are you talking about? I love Carolyn, but, So, Mike, you are a good salesman. You are perhaps the best salesman I've ever met. But Mike wasn't always a great salesman. When he first started off selling paper, very few of you know this. Mike wasn't always in selling radio. He was selling paper like me early in his career. And he was lousy at it. He was actually pretty lousy. He couldn't make a sale. So his boss eventually kind of said, Mike, what's going on? Something's not right here. And Mike's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm missing it. And the boss said, okay, do this. You gotta figure out.
Mike, it's for you.
I'll call back.
Yeah. You gotta figure out your power phrase, your power word. Right? You gotta find that power phrase, that power word, and it'll be good. And Mike said, okay, that's good. So that weekend, he went home and he read through the dictionary and he found it. And he went out and started making sale after sale after sale. So after about a month, the boss came back to him and said, Mike, that's fantastic. You went from being the shittiest salesman we have to one of the best. What happened? You must have found your power word. And Mike said, yes, that's true. I did find my power word. Well, what is it? The word is, I went through the dictionary. I got the F, fantastic. Fantastic. That's a powerful word. And you just think about it. It's got a lot of power. It's just a good, positive word. And Mike said, let me tell you how I used it. I went to visit the very first guy after I discovered the power word. And I went in and he wanted to tell me about how his son got accepted to Harvard. And I said, fantastic. Then he went on to say, I caught the biggest fish in my life. And I said, fantastic. And then he went on to tell me some other great story. And I kept saying, fantastic. Next thing you know, he gave me the order. It was great. It was great. I got it right. I kept saying fantastic. All I said was fantastic. It was great. And I kept giving the order. And the boss looked at him and said, well, that's really great, Mike. I'm really proud of you. But what did you used to say when you weren't making a sale? Oh, who gives a shit? There is something to be said for, fantastic and who gives a shit. There's a big difference. So Mike congratulations on learning that. Because I'm telling you, I'm in sales, and when you say who gives a shit, it doesn't work that well. Can you relate to that? Yeah. Mike doesn't drink, which is a good thing, but it rules out a bunch of barroom humor that we could use, which is too bad. But I, for one, would rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. And Mike apparently has chosen the latter. He's the only Irishman when I know they've chosen the latter, but God bless you. You know, the net sum of that is that Mike, we all have our addictions, and Mike's addiction is talking. I mean, if you really think about it, Mike talks more than any other human being you've ever met. I mean, from the morning, from the day he wakes up, he's on his cell phone, he's talking to somebody. We've heard the stories about who he's talking to. It doesn't matter who he's talking to somebody. There are more words said from Michael Sheehan in the course of the day than any other human being. I mean, I don't have empirical evidence for that, but that's got to be true. And you would think, kind of like the Big Bang Theory, that eventually, that if you throw enough words out there, something profound would happen. Something profound would get said. You know, eventually you throw enough matter in the universe, boom, it blows up in the universe. Here we are. But in Mike's case, that hasn't happened. There is nothing profound that I've heard. I'm still waiting, Mike. I'm still waiting. It could happen. I'm open to the possibility that something good would come out of all those words, but it's not. Mostly it's Mike walking. He's done with Queen in the morning. He's walking to Fisher, and he's the only one left to call who hasn't been on the ferry because I'm driving to Vancouver again. It's me. Oh, I'll call Crowley. I've done talking to everybody else on the freaking ferry, and now I'll talk to Crowley because he's the only one who wasn't on the ferry who I know his number is programmed into my cell phone. So I'll call Crowley and see what he's doing. I'm driving in my car to Vancouver, and Mike's like, so here's the conversation. Mike called, hello, and I'm like, hi, Mike. Then Mike's like, and then we're like ready to go on. Mike's like, and finally, after about 2 minutes, and he's going, Mike's like, alright, and then he breaks into like some like stupid Wisconsin, from Wisconsin originally, Green Bay, so he tries to like do some Wisconsin accent. Yo, buddy, how you doing from Wisconsin? And I'm like, Mike, you sound like you're from freaking Fargo. I'm from Wisconsin, not from Fargo. What are you talking about? And he's like, oh, it's from Norway now, and then that's from, then the one accent rolls into the other, and it's a French accent, it's a French Canadian, it's a Canadian, you hoser, eh? You're a hoser, going to Canada again, eh? And then the next thing you know, it's like, it's a Scottish pro game, and then I'm like, Mike, shut up. I gotta go. I mean, really, I have something more important to do with my life than talk to you about this shit. But no, it's all good. I'm laughing so hard. He's like, oh, this is good. And then he said something about Little League, and I hang up. Mike will, I will just wrap it up by saying Mike will really talk to anybody about anything at any point. And, you know, Niels did mention the conversation from the shower. Frankly, I was disturbed by that. I was in New York City having dinner with a client. I got back to my hotel room, I picked up the message, and it's Mike. Oh, Tom, hi, I'm with Niels in the shower naked. How you doing? How are you? How have you? We miss you. I'm like, Mike, I leave a message back. I'm like, that's just weird. I mean, there's some things you do are funny, but this is weird. You can't do that anymore. So like 2 nights later, I'm still like back east, and he's like leaving another message in the shower. I'm like, Mike, you can't do that. It's not right. It's just not right. So that's funny. It's scary, but it's funny. And the other story is also Mike will talk about anything as we did here earlier. Mike, I did love Simon hearing about the colonoscopy. Really, and it wasn't just the colonoscopy itself; it was the prep. Really, the number of times that Michael had to go to the bathroom. Oh no! I told all of you know about the colonoscopy, right? I mean, you raise your hand and you know. There it is. There's the story right there. What more do we need to say? That's the story in and of itself. 47 times we'll be like, okay, he's been through this major procedure, and it's like, get me on the ferry, get me home, and I just want to go and recover. Not Mike. Mike's like, let's go see Tom. Let's go visit Tom in his office for the first time. So Mike and Kim come in, and Mike's like still kind of in his sweatpants, a little goofy from the surgery. He's running around, and I'm on the phone with the CEO talking about, you know, whether we're going to shut down another paper machine because we're going out of freaking business. And Mike's running around. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really good, and he's touching everything in my office. You know, and I'm like, Mike, you gotta go. I gotta go. I don't mean you gotta go like you were thinking you gotta go. I mean you have to leave. It was really bad. I'm like, Mike, really, I love you, but you gotta go. And I got fired as a result. It was bad. But I love you. And the last story I have to tell is a serious one. Yeah, I'm going to get a little kind of serious on you, Mike. You know, Mike's a great coach, and he's impacted a lot of people in a positive way. A lot of youth. Yeah, he impacted a lot of youth. He also had an impact on me as a coach. We played in the old-timer tournament this summer. And I was playing third base, and I made an error. And in the middle of the inning, in front of all my family and friends, Mike ran onto the field and took me out and replaced me with Don McComb. Frankly, I don't know if I've ever been more embarrassed. And if I had had any sense about me, I would have said, screw you, I'm not coming off the field, right? But instead I was like, okay, Mike, I'll come off, right? Because Mike told me to. And then I was like, what am I doing? And then I got home, I was really pissed. And I got home that night, and I opened up my Bible to find solace. And I saw that I should forgive Mike 7 times. No, not just 7 times, but 7 times 7. 49 times.
No,
and I said
7 times 70.
no. Oh, that one. Don't be correcting me, preacher! Don't be correcting me! I got my version. 7 times 7, 49. And I'm like, all right. So the next day I moved on. Mike was like, you're still mad at me. I'm like, no, I've forgiven you, Mike. 7 times 7, 49. I've forgiven you. But Mike, I'm here to tell you tonight, now that you're 50, you are screwed, and I'm pissed again. So, Mike, God bless you. I love you.
When you're the president of the youth, of a youth organization, you're always looking for the prime examples to show to the other adults who are coming in as volunteers. And for Mike, while he was president, he pointed to one he had in his ranks as a manager priest. And he said, follow the priest. We have a priest in our ranks. What he does, so should you. Little did he know that the priest is a human being. He loves to compete. And as we watched the priest, we noticed that he was screaming and yelling as much as the rest of us. In fact, more so. Only he did it without using funny words. Funny words. And because of that, he should speak tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Harper.
Yeah, I'm all tucked out. Sunday, I'm all done. Mostly because, do you remember that Tom Crowley said he wasn't funny?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And he used all of my material because I just gave everything a little title heading, and it was all, the title heading was The Voice. Right? I can't do that voice. Okay? But both of my children can do that. And they do the voice all the time. And it kind of goes like this, because I do tend to talk on that cell phone about half as much as you do, which is an awful lot. And I got one of those clever little, earpiece devices, because Carolyn says that she really likes it. There you go.
So we'll be in the car together. The Harper boys. I Carolyn won't even travel in a vehicle if I'm wearing that thing. And I'll get the little vibrate back here, and I'll look on the caller ID, and it's your name. Boom! Answer right away. Because I know that's what you want. You want me to answer right away. And there'll be some sort of conversation, monosyllabic, one syllable on my part, right? And then I'll hang up, and then the boys will say, "How's Mike?" They will have heard everything that he says. So at dinner tables, often, Mike, it's the voice. The boys will do the voice. Now, the voice isn't that surprising when you realize that the mouth is located in the head, and it comes out of there at a chamber, right? Now, the reality is that like Simon, I really wasn't sure about what roast meant, what I was supposed to do. So I called the one person who I knew would know what to do, Crispy Queen. And I asked him, and I said, Steve, I do want to say something nice. My job professionally, this is what I do. I say nice things about people. And I want to say something nice about Mike because I really like him. And Steve says, no, you can't do that. Sorry. I would have said something nice, but Steve said I can't. So it's simple as that. All right, so the voice. Before I met Mike Sheehan, and I was about to meet him, as it turns out, I had heard about him. I had been coaching, and Mike was about to move up the ranks just a bit, and a person that I knew and that apparently Mike knew, a woman said to me, "Hey, don't you coach baseball in Bainbridge Island?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." "Hey, do you know Mike Sheehan? He's going to be coaching baseball in Bainbridge Island." And I said, I know who he is, but I haven't met him yet. And she said, "Oh, wait till you meet him. He's got this voice." And I said, "Really? What do you mean he's got this voice?" And she said, "He's got this voice, and if he says to you, 'Take your clothes off,' you'll do it." That's a true story. That's a true story. So Mike, come here. Just, you had to sit and endure. Come here. Chris, come here. Come here. It's never been tested. Well, at least, could you just say it? Come on, no, please. Come on, here, just say it. Into the mic. Keep going. Get that voice. Take your clothes off hard. No. She didn't say hard at the end. She said take. Okay, try it again. Take your clothes off.
It's not happening there. Everybody's
Thank you. All right. So the voice. We've all heard it. We know it. We've heard it on our voicemail, and it does have that growly effect, like Tom demonstrated. But the truth is, I love that voice, Mike, because it's everything about you, and it's been said over and over again. And here comes the part that Steve Queen said I couldn't do, but I am lucky to be one of your friends and to be included in this circle. And we love you, and you know that. So keep the voice out there. I need to hear it. Thanks, Mike.
I don't know how to do this, and I'm treading on dangerous ground. What's wrong? I kissed you already tonight, so I'm going to try.
Yes, you did. That was
Okay, try.
words.
As fathers, we all hold high aspirations for our sons. And Mike, I know you have one for yours, don't you?
Yeah.
Do I have to reveal this now? You don't want me to, but I will.
Who are we talking
Because we're in front of your friends, your lovers, your neighbors, your community, Mike. He has always wanted for his son one young woman to grow up and someday marry, because he looked at her and said, "Mo, she's the girl for you." She is. She has, of course, there have been many boys on the island who have been interested in her, and of course she has snubbed them all because she has her choice of the litter. But yet, despite it, Mike has said, Mo, she is the one for you. And I've heard this, and I've said, you know, you're really setting yourself aside. What if it's not him? What if it's not her? Mike, he said, Bill, shut up. Come on. She's the one for you. And so because of that, we thought, you know what, we should really have her father come here tonight, Mike, and talk to you, because I'm looking, I don't know whether you're right or you're wrong or whatever, but if anybody can set you straight, it'll be the next speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, John Quisto.
How you doing, Mike? How you doing? Sarah D, huh? You know what? We've actually had this conversation in my home. We all talk about Mike too. I like you guys too. Mike is a great conversation piece. But we've actually talked about you. And of course, Mo comes up and about how perfect Mo is for Sarah DeQuesto. I love how you say my last name, by the way. DeQuesto. You throw an E in there instead of DeQuesto. Anyway, and I recently told Gina, I said, Gina, you know, he's got kind of a point, because Mo is kind of quiet, and you know, he's unassuming, not even like his father, and Sarah is me in a girl's body, swear to God. So I kind of take him to turn now. I'm kind of seeing things your way. You seen things before I actually, you know. Anyway, what did I want to say? Hey, no one has mentioned here tonight all the warnings, and you guys, nobody's admitted it yet, but didn't we all warn our wives before they met Mike? Oh, please don't make me sound like I'm the only one. I told my wife this. She says, oh, Mike, what's he like? I said, okay, Jim, here's the deal. Let's say you're at the grocery store, and you see him, because she knew who Mike was. I said, let's say he's at the grocery store. Let's say he's looking at the bread. Yeah, she has no idea where I'm going with this. You go to aisle 15 and look for ice cream. She goes, what? I said, what if he sees me? Doesn't matter. You are not prepared for a conversation with that guy. You live with me. And Gina, I said, oh, a whole new level. I'm an avatar next to that guy. And she just said, no, can't be. And then she met him. And God, you taught him how to do his stroke, didn't you, Gina? Wasn't he? I think she taught you how to swim. Yeah, she did. I think she did. You were under her butter, yeah, stroke and all that. And anyway, I can't hear a couple of stories, kind of boring. But hey, on the voice thing, I love that voice thing. But you know, I'm getting the raw end of this deal. Because everybody's done that voice, Bill and Tom now recently, right? But you know the voice that I get? I get the voice because I'm on the docks, right? So I get the voice, Mike does the voice, but it's like, duh, hey, DeQuesto, hey, how's things on the docks? Hey. I get the dumb version. I like Tom's version better. I like the East Coast guy kind of thing. I get the dumb docks guy. Hey, DeQuesto, how's things on the docks? I want to tell him something intelligent, like some arbitration in his head, kind of detailed technology. Hey, what's up? So I'm talking to this guy off this roast, right? He's a giant Irishman. And I'm going on, I'm talking about Irishmen. I love to jack with the Irish. I love it, because I'm not. And, so I teach them about how much they drink and this and that, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And this giant Irishman, we got giant Irishmen on the docks down there. This guy's name's Brian Crotty, huge guy. And he says, oh, I was supposed to roast Mike tonight, wasn't I? Oh, anyway, I'll get there. So this giant Irishman says, and I'm mentioning Mike Sheehan being, you know, an Irishman. Yeah, not be trusted because he doesn't drink. But he's a good Irishman, you know. And anyway, this guy in the back, he hadn't heard about enough of me chatting with the Irish. So he stands up and says, you know what? I've heard enough about you chatting with the Irish. He says, you know what a good Irishman is, huh? I says, yeah, Mike Sheehan. He's a good Irishman. He don't drink. He says, that's right. But who wants to be an Irishman? He should land. Who wants to be a good Irishman? God, we got that wacky Irishman. Now we get the stories out. All right, to the stories.
12 minutes into that joke, and we're still waiting for the punchline.
I didn't take 12 minutes for that, though, did I? Some others. Simon, did you hear what I said earlier? I said, would you look at what? Just look at Kathleen. That's all I want you to do if you do anything at that podium, which you did nothing. Look at your wife. No, look at Kathleen.
That told the story. I should check. So, tell me first story. I had something else I wanted to say first. What was it? Oh, I'll say that for later. Hey, listen, so this is the deal. So, Mike and John Kaminsky it is really hot next to John Kaminsky and Mike are at that Little League auction thing, right? And they're both, pulling money out of the crowd. And they got trying to get $1,200 on my wife for dinner at the top of the Columbia Tower with Slick Rick Neuheisel. I was busy telling a story, didn't realize I was $1,200 into a dinner with Neuheisel at the time, which he did not live up to, by the way. And which, thank God that Ryan, coach of the Giants, come on.
Sousa.
Yeah, Sousa, thank God he outbid me. Thank God for Amazon.com, because he outbid G. Yeah, I thank God he won that one. Anyway, so they're doing this, and then I remember that Mike was just raking Rick Watson of the Colts. He made Rick Watson the butt of all his jokes. Just raking this guy. So eventually we had to break in between all the auctions. Mike comes over the table. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? And I said, hey, Mike. Hey, Mike, go easy on Rick Watson there for a while. He says, what? It's all in good fun. It's all for, money and all that. Plus, he hasn't said a thing. I said, hey, Mike. Yeah? He ain't here tonight. Oh, yeah, go easy on Rick then the rest of the night. Yeah, he ain't here. The other one is that ferry boat scene that you all heard it too many times. You remember how Mike told this story about going to 27 times? I'm going to tell my 27th version of this one here. So, me and Mike are in that notorious part of the ferry boat, that sleeping room. Not the sleeping room, the upstairs reading room. And you've probably heard this. I'm in there, minding my own business. I'm doing the reading. I'm doing what you're supposed to be doing up there, right? Yeah. In walks Mike. God, I got to write these events down because it's so funny. In walks Mike, right? And immediately identifies me. Hey, John, how you doing? And he gets those stares from everybody in that room. They're staring at him. And I'm embarrassed. But I go with it. It's fine. What are you going to do? So he sees a few people he recognizes in that room. I start jacking a little bit. Nothing high five for distance and all that. Now he's getting like sneers. Now they're sneering at him. And then he starts spinning a yarn, like a good Irishman. He starts spinning a yarn. It takes a while. Out loud. Forget the fact that they're reading and all that. Now he's getting all this. They start leaving. Oh yeah, the shushes, the whole gig, yeah. And I'm sitting there, and I'm going with it. Of course, I'm not saying anything because he's supposed to be talking in that room. Right? So I'm not saying anything. Oh yeah. Read quiet. I say nothing. He starts chatting with the buddies. I say nothing. Starts spinning the yarn. I'm just going along with it, and I say nothing. Yeah, you have to believe that for a minute. Anyway, he finishes this talk. I can't remember what it was. The story he was telling. It was a good story. Sure it was. And room's empty. We're halfway across the sound. And that reading room, which is every chair is taken, is empty. And Mike looks at me with this dumb look, and he says, what'd I say? It's okay, Mike. He didn't bother me anyway. All right, what else do I want to touch on here while I still have a microphone? Bryce, my fault. The reason he was late all those years, I think for 3 years I gave Mike a ride to work. Right, Mikey? Yeah. Every day. And, I was going there with that. Sorry. Anyway, so we walked and picked up truck, off we go. And I don't know if you know that spot, but he's a closet Sinatra fan. Oh, he loves Frankie Sinatra. So I had all the Sinatra he could listen to. We listened to different one. John, fly me to the moon. Do that, fly me to the moon. Fly me to the moon. And then, Summerland. And I said, hey, you gotta hear some Dean Martin. Next day, whatever, next week, whatever. We're singing, well, there's one other guy in this tandem as we rolled across to take this, our truck home, go to work. Simon Poole, always there. Can you imagine poor Simon? Me on one side, Mike on the other. 35 minutes. Hell, I'm sure he said. He never said a word. I didn't know he ever spoke. The first time I ever had him speak was right here tonight. And you won't be a punchline, because it was 12 minutes into that thing, and you lost it right there at the end. I couldn't hear a word. Anyway, so poor Simon. Well, we get Simon in the car now. We get him involved. Hey, John, you gotta finish some extra stuff for Simon now. Well, here we go. And Simon's just shaking his head, man. Had to play the whole tunes for him. Next day or next week, flash forward, we got somebody else in there too. Well, pretty soon that truck was full of Mike's associates, work partners, Simon. Yeah. And one time I got him though. One time I wasn't going to my pickup truck in Seattle. I was actually gonna just walk to my job that day. And Mike walked with me the whole way. The whole way down, to the job site. And I said, Mike says, what are you doing? Oh, where's your truck? I'm going to my car. Wait a minute. John, I'm 10 minutes into this walk with you. I have 10 minutes to do a quarter mile here. Yeah. Mike, I'll see you later. I gotta go to work. Bye. Mike, here's a couple of these little pop quizzes. Can we give you a little test here for everybody? It'll make you look good now, all right? Because everybody's been just jacking with your stuff all night. And threw me into the ladder several times. Not unlike what I'm getting now from this flyer. I'm gonna give you a test. Get ready. I'm gonna give you a pop quiz. That's easy. Oh, anyway, come on, man. I never thought I'd be up here after 9 p.m. I go to bed at 9 p.m. now. I ain't even 50 yet. Anyway. Okay, Mike, let's see here. Hey, no one said this tonight. I thought this was going to be said 10, 15 times by everybody tonight. Mikey, no, one person said it. We got some golfers in this room, I know. They're all better than me, I know that. But listen to this. No, one of you golfers, shame on you. I'm shaming you all right now. Now, one of you golfers has mentioned to Mike, my good friend Mike, that he now qualifies for the senior tour. He is 50 years old, and he now qualifies for the senior tour. So I'm like all these bums in here, Mike. I offer my caddy services to you right now. I will be your caddy. Again, your scores will be going out of here. You're right there. You can make the seniors tour on your caddy. Look to spend union wages. I'll caddy for you, Mike. You're 50. You also want AARP. AARP.
That's right.
You're 50.
Discount hotel.
Right on. How about this, Mike? For the crowd. Mike, what do I want to do to Rick Reedus?
Kill him.
I want to kill him. I want to hit him first, though. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone's 22.
That's part of the test. That's part of the test. I want to kill Rick Reedus, right? Well, first I want to hit him.
Right.
You know what's funny? Right. You always tell me, John, you love this guy. You love Rick Reedus. No, I hate the guy. I never met him, and I don't ever want to meet him. Is he here tonight?
If he was, I wouldn't tell you.
That would be a good thing. Okay, so you know what I want to do with Rick Reedus. Okay, Mike, here, give me this. Okay, remember the scene.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll see in a minute. Mark McLaurin's to your right.
Right.
And you mentioned the name Jeff Sorrella to him. What was that look he gave you? Come on, give me the look. Yeah. Give me the look. Oh, it was a little like this too.
Yeah, it was.
He looked at you with one eye up and he wondered, do I trust this information with you? Will he tell anybody about how I really feel about Jeff Sorrella? All right, how about this? You're flying bears. You got your fruit smugglers tonight from Nils. We make sure we took care of that. We've been draining the pool every year anyway, so. Mike, all I'd like to say really is just two things just like the top of my head here. Here we go. What is that filthy Mercedes you made me ride in one time with you? That filthy car. I told Mike to his face, I said, Mike, I will never get in this car with you again. And I lived up to that, didn't I? I never got in that car again with you. It was unbelievable. Okay, we gotta do something. I don't know what your car looks like now because I have not been in a car with you since. That was nobody should be shoving to that. I can't believe you trust your children in a car. I think I got mugged by some rats in that car. They owe me some money. Anyway, that's all I really got to say. How do you end this? How do you end it? I don't know. Let's knock her something, Mikey. I gotta turn this mic over to Bill here. So,
take your time.
You ready to go? Harper. No, not Harper. I had to follow Harper. Hey, After, let's go. It's all yours, man. I'm done. Hey.
Only way. And you know what? Excuse me, we'll take a time out for a sponsor message right now. Hi, it's Mike. Well, I'm turning 50 tonight, and your parents are here to celebrate, so they're going to be a little bit late. Is that okay? I just wanted to call and say hi to you. Where's Willie? Kelly. Kelly. Where's Willie? All right. Okay. All right, tell him not to do that anymore. Bye. Bye. Yeah, no, he's watching the dogs. Mike used to be a neighbor of mine, and then he moved. And then he moved again. And then he moved again. And then he moved again. By the way, these are all on Pamber Town, by the way. And then he moved again. And then he moved again. And then he moved again. And now Mike's a neighbor of mine. When Robbie was 5 years old, I got a phone call from Little League that said, Mr. Ackley, congratulations, you are now the manager of the T-ball team. I said, that's funny, I didn't sign up for it. They said, oh, yes, you did. I said, no, I don't think I did. I didn't sign up for it. You know, I'd love to help out someday, but now's not the time. T-ball, I don't think so. That's like daycare. No, you signed up. Yes, you did. I said, are you sure? Can you tell me what the heck do you have in front of you? He says, I signed up. I said, this is Mr. Mike Sheehan's application to be an assistant coach of T-ball. And he said he was working under you as manager. Now, for all of you, the Ralph Steins and et cetera, the Shreks and so on, who look at me and say, you look at me, you don't see me, do you? You see leather with red threading going through my face. Amazing. How I want you to know it's not my fault, it's his fault. He started it right here. It was Mike Sheehan. I don't know, Mike, why did you do that? I've never really been sure. It's your time, Mike. It's time for you to come up here. By the way, all the stories we've told about you, you know are too true. You are a pathological liar. You like to tell stories of people. Mike, with me, by the way, is very famous for saying, I believe this. No, I'm sorry. Let me restate that. You don't start with I believe this. You would say, this is the right thing to do. This is the right thing to do. This is the right thing to do. And by the way, I've been convinced by Bill Ackerley. I get an email from all of you saying, how could you possibly think that way? Mike says it was your idea, and then I have to call Mike and say, excuse me? Yes. I actually have a job. I actually was out to lunch one time with the parents of a boy who played on the Rockies, and I think he played with us for 2 years, and finally halfway through the lunch, the mother looked at me and said, by the way, do you work for a living? And I said, yes, in fact, I do. And Mike, I figured they probably got that from Mike, because Mike loves to call me at any time of the day, right? I'm sure I'm not the only one. And of course, when he calls, it's not a professional introduction. It's like, hello, Bill, how are you? This is Mike Sheehan from Colo Radio. It's, ding! And of course, I always answer, when you know he works with me, I try to be as professional as I can because I like to fake it. I go, hello, this is Bill. And at the other end is, Mike is a classic example of when you really do want caller ID. Right? Okay. Bottom line is, if you've got a son or a daughter who's playing on a team and you find out that Mike Sheehan's your coach, you're ecstatic. If you find out that someone new has moved into the neighborhood and you find out that Mike Sheehan is moving in a house, you're ecstatic. When you meet someone for the first time and you find out that they know Mike Sheehan, at least you know that you're going to learn a lot about that person because Mike's not afraid to tell. Just tell them, and within 48 hours, we got thank you notes from people saying, thank you very much for saying Merry Christmas to us. Mike Sheehan let us know. Mike takes things very seriously, although it's hard to tell, right? You're not really sure. Mike got in a lot of trouble from his coworkers today, right, for the work thing. And of course he gets in a lot of trouble with the Little League people for the work thing. And he gets in a lot of trouble with the work people about the Little League thing. And Carolyn, I'm really sorry, I should have told you more. I knew better, and I don't know why I let you fall into this trap. But the bottom line is, with Mike, it's all about people. I've said this about Mike, I've said this to Carolyn, and this is true. There are very few people that you meet in your life that you say, you know what? This gentleman can walk up to someone and make them feel like, and this is true, I said this to her, like you are their best friend. Now, there are some people who do that, and it's fake. But you know what? With this guy, it's true. For everybody in this room, to the extent that he's made you feel special, it's because he thinks you are. Now, you know it's not maybe true all the time, but Mike makes you feel that way. And because of that, we all came here tonight. And so because of that, after all the jokes and the fun and the giggle and the laughter, we should hear from him. Mike, would you please come, talk to us, and tell us about... Now we've been time out from a commercial sponsor, and now that you can't just do what he says. Okay? Karen will come and use, Mike said this! And I'm like, right? It's happened to Simon a million times. Simon Poole used to be a very high upstanding citizen, but after Mike got through that, right? He can't even tell a good joke anymore. He used to be really good.
Johnny.
Now,
does it bark too? Yeah, that's a That was closer.
Why don't you go the other way, Mike?
He's gonna start drinking again. Oh, do it, Mike. Attaboy.
Sometimes there are very fortuitous... Hey, I'm not done, Greg. It's still my turn. And then I get to give the microphone to Microphone. Wandering in the wilderness, looking for something, someone. Something, someone that would make him whole. I don't think there's anybody in this room that would disagree that you got very, very lucky with that. Yes, you did. Thank you. She's sitting right there, the woman who put together this evening.
Yeah.
And as a result, all the positive things we think about Mike, thank you for that.
None of which were said tonight.
Not clearly. She has made solid. Kim, thank you much for everything you did. You know what, Kim? It's made of everything that he's been meant to be. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Sheehan. Did you ever notice Billy's backside? It's not bad. Not bad. No, that's too much. That's too much. All right, you know what? This is a long night, and I'm still trying to figure out what the hell Simon was talking about. But I will hit me sometime on the boat tomorrow, I think. Maybe not.
Work tomorrow?
Probably not going to work tomorrow. Thank you. First of all, I want to echo the sentiments of Bill. Kim, you are the greatest single thing that's ever happened to me, and I love you. Thank you for this. I don't know how you pulled it off, but thank you. Also, I want to thank all the people that are here who didn't speak. You're still my friends. Kelly, Tim, Chris Acuna in the back. Chris, great to see you, man. Talk about a dedicated soul. John Kaminsky, I could go through the whole. Terry, who else? Pete, Kathy, thank you. Lou, your lover? Lou, my lover. I love you still, regardless of everything. Brian Moore, his lovely better out. Brian Rice. Who else am I missing over there? Sampson. Kelly Sampson, Sally Sampson. Sally didn't talk. Sally didn't speak. Elizabeth Engstrom. Jody, Kathleen, I was gonna get to you. Mrs. Rice, Kathleen Walbrock, Mary McCombs, Tim Cussy, everybody that's here, Brian Rice, did I already say you? Oh, Adrian, sorry, I'm off. Suzanne Cussy, thank you. No, I'm not gonna say that.
Jody.
The lovely and talented, much better half of the Coatsworth family, Debbie Coatsworth. Thank you for coming. Tell you what, but he's a stiff. He is, but I love him too, though. Kathy, Carolyn, your comments, although sincere, were hurtful. I'm not going to wear that Speedo, Niels, ever. Okay? Crowley, I'm going to tell you this. Okay, you made it seem like I'm some kind of strange, weird guy out walking the streets. You want those calls. You want those calls. And at the end of the day, when you're crossing that border, you want me in your car. You need me in your car. Let me tell you something else. Mo is married, Sarah. I don't care whether he wants to or not. I know. We had a conversation. Kaminsky and I had a conversation. The kid needs to at least break 5'5" to have any chance. So I got him on a stretcher. He's pushing. He's like, Dad, do you think this is needed? Yes, this is needed. You got to at least 5'2", 5'3", 5'5" to have a chance for Sarah. I am totally possessed. One driven mind, but I will get there. Because I want to sit around when I get old with John, as you saw tonight, right? And tell stories with that guy, okay? Because none of them are real, but they're funny as hell. Gene and Kim consider me great. Okay, you guys are all welcome to come over at the wedding, I'll tell you right now. And if I have to use a podium for Mo to stand up, I will. Okay, you want to talk about funny, you should see Niels in a Speedo. Hey, you want to talk funny, that's funny. Walking out his journey, that is good. Nice to see you with this little Speedo here. You talk about scaring kids and elderly. I gave mouth to mouth to an older guy to save his life when he saw that. 82 years old, they're dead, please no more. Spit water out, he's like, oh, don't worry about it, sir, I'll make sure that never happens to you again. It is frightening to kids and anybody else. Jumps in the pool, waters out, it's over. John Kaminsky, I love you, but I will never, ever forgive you for what you did to me with Little League. Why is my finger shaking? Look at that. No, John Kaminsky, for those that don't know, was 1 year in Little League is probably the best Little League president I've ever been around. I mean that, John. You set us in the right direction, but now you're surpassed by Carolyn, who is better, and I will say that because, by God, she saved my life, and so even if she's not good, in my world, you're the best, Carolyn. Okay? The Sampsons, the only people that I know that have a freaking tree in their house, okay? So you need to go over there and see that. Brian Clement, who you don't know, you should see him. He shaves at night. His whole body. Okay, the guy, he's got more hair than a wolf. And he won't tell you that when he's talking about my car gets stolen. For all the things that made me feel good about myself. I'm a razor, Brian. Okay, how about a razor? And Doug McCombs, you know, Mr. Sailor Boy, Mr. Hawaii Surfer Guy, okay? And Ditmore, I could go on for about 10 hours about Ditmore, okay? Dresses in the black, tries to look like Elvis. What's the guy's name that was the, Johnny Cash, thank you very much. Poor man's Johnny Cash. Yeah, okay, whatever, Turkey. But Simon, whatever the heck you were trying to say, I understood it, man. I knew where you were going. I knew it. And when Will turns 50, I'm buying you a white or a blue or a green shirt, and damn it, you're going to wear some color. You're going to wear some Al Davis. And you're a nicer guy than people know, okay? But you come in with the black
nick of time to the whole Black Bart thing. We're losing that here soon. Bryce Wilpy, okay? Bryce gets up, fun guy, nobody really knows him. He can cheap shot me, nobody knows the guy. Okay? Bryce rides a bike to work. Okay? Where's those that don't like Brian Rice? You're sitting down the bottom. This is your worst nightmare, all right? And you're sitting there having, a cup of coffee, maybe running my lips. And all of a sudden you turn over and there's a sack. A male sack walking towards you. He's driving the biker shorts like this. Is there some kind of freaking law that says it can't be baggy? They want it always gotta be tight. Brian Rice, Bryce, same thing. Walks up hard, Mike. Okay, so, maybe you should just keep walking. Wow. Wow, I don't want to sit there. That's a little close. Oh no, your package. Nobody to see. All right, so then there's Bill. Oh yeah. Funny guy athlete. Wears this little funny Swedish hat or Scottish hat. Okay. I, for the record, all right, for the record, here's the record. I'm getting you, Queen. Don't worry about it, pal. You wish you had a head this big. Joanne and Lou, you're gonna remain here because that's how you are, and I love you guys. All right, athlete, right? Right. Oh yeah. Bill Ackley. When I was on Cherry, Bill Ackley ran by me every day, right? The zoo dog. Tater, who I've grown to love. Every day ran by. Hey, Bill. Ran right by. Never waved, never said anything. And I said, you know what? That guy's a dick. I'm going to find out who he is, and I'm going to get that guy. So Bo comes home and he says, hey, Dad, at least, he's still the same size. There's Mo. Yeah, you actually look at Mo and I, not much size differential. I'm 3, he's 12. He comes home, he goes, hey, Dad, you know that guy you think's a dick? Yeah. His son and I are buddies. What's his name? Robbie Ackley. Perfect. You want to play T-ball, Mo? Yeah. You want to know the truth, pal? About how you became our manager, that's how. You ran by my house. Then every so often he'd let his little dog Tater do his thing on the lawn. Did Bill pick it up? No. Tater would do this and run. Hey, pal, how about a little help? If you've ever seen him run, it's like a nightmare running. Big butt hanging out, everything flooding everywhere. Okay, then the other thing is, the truth about that race, he cheated. He took off quick. I was Simon, you were there, right? Don't you go back there, though? Remember what I just told you? Pete was there, right? We were all in the dock. I was looking around. Carolyn, this is the funny thing about the Ackley clan. Carolyn's saying to me, she goes, you know, Mike, he's pretty fast. I said, yeah, I know, Carolyn, but look at him. Well, don't be deceived by his look. He's faster than he looks. I said, oh, true. I don't know. He goes, no, I'm really serious. And he hasn't really been swimming. I said, okay, well then I feel pretty good about my chances. I don't know. He did triathlons and everything. He did all these other water things. He's pretty fast. And then there's the twins going like, yeah, it's my dad. He's fast. So I get down to the dock, right? We're going out. I'm on it. Come on, Billy. You want to race? Come on, Billy. Come on. He's like, all right, I'll race. So all of a sudden, this guy who hadn't been training, supposedly, gets down the dock, takes his shirt off and his shorts. Carolyn's immediately right there by his side with a stopwatch. Now remember what we talked about in the split? We're going to do a 25 split back. Okay, make sure you flip, try to come back. Okay, you look done. Like, wait a second here, this is an ambush. Okay, make sure your short patterns up like this, like we worked on, okay? Carolyn, I thought maybe... Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, Carolyn can say anything to you, right? In her own way, she can go, Mike, screw off. And you feel good about yourself, like, oh God, she's so nice. So she's on the dot telling me, oh, it's okay, 25, 25, 20 split, 25, get up. Then all of a sudden, then she'll say, she goes, oh, Mike, go. And Bill's already in the water. Boom, I'm in the water. I'm looking at Bill, he's kicking, he's in my lane. Okay, get out. Pull over. Boom, hits the boat. Swims back. I make sure the boat I don't even get halfway back, Tim Cussy, and I swim to the side, okay? Swim to the side because I realize this race is not, it's over, right? I got no chance, so I'm going to try to DQ myself to save face. Bill can't let it slide. Simon, other people feeling bad at Pete. Very nice, good friends. They're like, geez, Mike, that's too bad. That's too bad. Now Bill, he's like, oh. Just like kiss your ass, I show you this, this little wedgie whiteys. But let me tell you something, Bill saved my life. Because I will tell you, I was training for this race. And the moment that I walked out of that water and we finished the tournament, I said to myself, you have a lot of work to do. You just lost to Bill Ackerman. And if you don't start training a little more seriously, pal, you're going to die. So when I'm swimming in San Francisco, I'm thinking Bill Ackerman. I see Bill's head. Simon, come on, you can do it. Keep going, you can do it. You see the ESPN commercials with all those heads around the, the guys, no, let it go. And that was me. It was like Bill's face. I would not quit, and I made it. And I was so excited to have a medal. You can see me right there. Okay? There I am, right there. That was the second biggest dam. This is the largest dam.